Hello and welcome to NPS Now, your source for news and information about Norfolk Public Schools. I'm your host, Karen Tanner. And we have two special guests with us today. Our first one is Rhonda White. She's Senior Coordinator for Math here in Norfolk Public Schools. And Kristen Allen. She is a math specialist at Granby Elementary. And you're both here to discuss Math Month. So welcome for the first time to NPS Now.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you on the show today. And April is Mathematics and Statistics Awareness Month. Let's say that 3 times. Do we do anything special in our schools to celebrate math this month, Rhonda?
Yes, we do a plenty. We really take the time to help the public understand that math is not something that is contained within the classroom or a textbook, but it's fun and it's interactive and it's engaging. And I'll let Kristen give you a few more things that they're doing at their schools to share that.
Yes, what are we doing in the schools?
At Granby this year we partnered with the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame, and they came in and helped us set up 8 math stations, and it incorporated math skills that were aligned to the SOLs and to the grade level. We worked with 3 through 5, and as the students visited each station, they worked on a math skill as well as was working on movement and exercise. So they might have done a relay to do equivalent fractions, or played shuffleboard and then measured the length of their puck, or did some basketball tossing and then did some statistics and graphed their data.
They needed something fun,
Yes.
to get through that. That sounds amazing. So what have we been focusing on in math, Rhonda?
For the past several years, we've been following along with VDOE and having the focus be on these 5 practices in mathematics. When we have our students graduate, when they move on to college or choose a career, as they're sitting and preparing for those things, employers and colleges want students that can problem solve, that can reason, that can communicate their thinking, that can show their ideas in a variety of ways, and that can make connections. These skills we call the 5 process goals. So in mathematics, we've been focusing on how to get our students to be able to do this.
So what do you think, or why do you think it's so intimidating for students for math, and what are we doing to address that intimidation?
I'll let you.
Well, a lot of people think that you have to be a math person to be good at math, and that is a culture that we're trying to change. There's no math gene. You're not born with I'm great at math or I'm not great at math, and it's a hard culture to change, but we're working towards it with a growth mindset and encouraging every student to try math and to work through it at their own pace, with their own way, and develop their learning through just their own kind of problem-solving skills.
So what types of things are teachers doing in the classroom to make math fun and exciting and engaging for students? We'll start with you, Kristen.
Our teachers do so much with that. They like to use problem-based learning that pulls in real-world thinking, problems that the kids will see, not just in a math textbook, but in their daily life. They work with technology like Google Classrooms. They pull in music and movement. A lot of schools use vocabulary that has songs for skills, and it's really music that the kids like, so it gets them more engaged.
How about you, Rhonda?
So in addition to that, it's that whole focus on moving from the concrete to the abstract and just making everything more attainable and working at the student's pace.
It's a lot of work.
It is.
Yes, it is. It absolutely
It is a lot
is.
of
What role do math specialists play in the elementary schools?
Our schools are filled with beautiful people like Kristen, and we both are, I was actually a former math specialist as well, but they're the ambassadors of math in our schools to share that beauty of mathematics. And the thing about what we had to endure, the coursework, right? It was actually something that helped us to understand that it's not just a procedure, but it's breaking it down and showing the conceptual understanding that's so important as well. And Kristen, tell us about what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
It also includes building relationships. So with the teachers, assisting them with planning and creating activities, making sure assessments are aligned, modeling and co-teaching with them. And I also work with students in small groups, and we remediate based on the data, what the students need, and and coaching any teachers, especially new teachers, and making sure that they understand the curriculum and know where to find their resources.
And similarly, in middle and high school, we have department chairs who have typical work as well with middle and high school teachers. And I just have to say that it's just an honor to work with such a talented group of so many.
Yeah, so what type of professional development are they receiving?
Well, for the past few summers, we've actually offered professional development that focused on early numeracy and building those foundational skills. We used something called Singapore math, and we focused on computation as well. We moved into also looking at district initiatives and initiatives set out to us by VDOE. But I'm most excited about the fact that the majority of our PDs have been led by teacher leaders, and in looking at the theory of action, we're building leadership from within. And so as we're thinking through this past year, we've engaged our middle school teachers with teacher leaders, and they met monthly to look at upcoming content, looking at strategies, and just a networking experience. But I'm really excited because we had our own teachers leading those sessions.
Oh, that's exciting. So what do you think about the professional development that you're receiving?
I think our professional development is one of a kind. When we have the days where all the staff is going to a building to either pick classes about math, there are so many choices and so many opportunities for teachers to really get what they need and fit their needs. Because everybody doesn't need the same PD at the same time, and I think our department does a great job on offering a variety, and we all are communicating the same message when it comes to our expectations and the rigor and alignment.
SOL testing is coming upon us.
Yes.
So are there any changes for math SOLs coming up this year?
We are adopting, or the state has adopted the standards, the 2016 math standards. The full implementation starts next year. We have been given permission to start that, so our K2 kids have started with the new standards this year, and then everybody beyond that, third grade and above, are teaching the 2009 standards, but adding in those new things that they'll see next year to kind of get a head start with that.
So we are one of the first.
We are, and we were granted that special permission, but that was just so that we could begin to ease those gaps. If you recall the last adoption, it was a bit of a trying time for us, and we learned from those lessons. And one of the things is that we began to weave in, as Kristen said, that content earlier.
And I have a fourth grader who's preparing for the
Yes.
SOLs. So what are some quick tips for studying for the SOLs?
Well, I would say overall, your child is prepared. So I would say, de-stress yourself and help your child to not be stressed out because they have what they need. But as you're going forward to help them review, visiting the website VDOE and being able to be exposed to the type of assessment that your child will actually encounter, knowing the types of items, knowing how the tests you can maneuver through with the math tools. We don't want the obstacle for success to be that the child was not exposed to the types of things that they will encounter on the assessment.
Sounds like you all have our children prepared. So
Yes.
thank you for all that you do. And thank you for coming on the show today to talk about Math Month.
Absolutely. We just really want our students to understand that they are prepared and that they are math people. We all are math people.
Yes.
Yay for math. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
And we want you to stay tuned for more NPS Now.
Welcome back to NPS Now. I'm Steve Sutmiller, Senior Coordinator of Athletics. Today in the studio, we're going to talk a little bit about soccer. And we have the head coach from Norview High School boys, Sean Stowe. Welcome.
Thank you.
And he's brought a player, senior captain, Devion Hankins. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, let's get right into this. Talk a little bit about Norview soccer right now. Tell us a little bit about the team and how things are going.
Yeah, so far we've played 9 games, I believe, and maybe 10 games, I guess. We're five wins, 2 losses, and 3 ties, and we're in 6th in the 5A standings right now.
Okay.
I think we can still move up a little bit. We're excited. The guys are pumped for this, new setup and potentially being in regionals, finishing in that top 8, and we're just trying to stick to what we do and continue to get results.
So as you're a captain on the team.
Yes.
Talk about a little bit about your role on the team, number one, and then as a leader.
I think it's a big point because most of the players, they look for leadership, and so I have to bring it out and put it upon myself to show them the right and the wrongs of the game. And especially for the young ones, I have to make sure that they feel comfortable where they're at and that they want to keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. So on the team, what position do you play, and what does that mean?
I'm a center back.
Okay.
I'm a defender. I'm basically one of the last people back, so if the attacker gets through most of the team, it's all on me.
Gotcha. So yeah, preventing.
Yes.
All right, Coach. You named this guy as the captain. So talk about the reason why he is the captain for your team.
Well, I mean, Davion's always been one of those guys that doesn't really have to try and lead, and just always doing the right thing, and always knows when to say the right thing. Is always the yes sir guy in the locker room, and just takes care of business on the field and off the field. You know, he's one of our better students academically on the team, and you know, he leads our study halls and helps guys out with homework. And you know, as far as this season, I wasn't sure. I knew I had one captain in Carson Graham, but I wasn't sure who the other one was going to be. And he was just a shining light from early on, just with everything, the way he carried himself, how he handled the young guys, and obviously his play on the field as well.
Okay. Great. All right. So, Coach, let's talk about your program. It's a little unique in terms of your player, of the makeup of a player. Your program, or the program at Norview High School, has the ESL component. And a lot of those student athletes are participating in soccer. So talk about what kind of maybe some challenges that as a coach working with an ESL student on the field and off the field, and we'll get Davion's response as well. But share that with us.
Yeah, so our ESL guys have been a big part of our program. Norview is the ESL school in Norfolk, and we've done a fantastic job. I can't say enough about Miss Deegan and Miss Smith and Miss Pugh. They've really brought, you know, these guys, boys and girls, a long way. My first year, a lot of the guys that, you know, I picked for the team had very to little no English, you know, because they're coming over from Honduras and Guatemala and some other areas, and this was their first year in a public school situation. So that was very tough. But over the past 2 years, they've grown quite a bit, and a lot of the guys know enough English and can communicate well enough as to where we don't have those challenges that I had the first year.
Right.
You know, it's just one or two guys that, you know, we really have to help out with. But the best part about it is that they're helping each other. You know, most of them are bilingual now. So if I'm saying something and it needs to be translated, it's easily done. And everybody knows my tone and can get my message and kind of gets that feel, you know, just based off that. And it's been impressive.
Yeah, so we have changed that over the last few years. Prior to, I think, last year, the ESL students, the English secondary language, they had to go to their zone schools. They've always been housed at Norview, but
right.
They were going back to their zone schools to play. So that was a bit of a challenge for them, but bringing them back into a one setting has really benefited both academically there and then obviously the play on the field.
Yeah, I think since they were going to the school and they were a part of it, they wanted to feel a part of it. And once they were able to participate on the soccer team and everything like that, it really kind of held them accountable.
Sure.
And you know, we've seen class attendance, you know, raise with those guys. We've seen their grades, their effort in the classes really come a long way from where it was, just based on them being able to participate in athletics and you know, be able to wear their school shirt and play on a game night.
Great.
So.
All right, so you're on the field playing with the student athletes. So from your perspective, you know, how has that been, and do you have any challenges in terms of your communication with your teammates?
Personally, I think it's gone very well from this year and last year. Last year was a little bit shaky, but this year now, I think everyone is. We can look to those players who need to speak to the Spanish speakers who can't speak English, and it comes out well. And maybe occasionally we have one player who doesn't get it, but we make that adjustment very fast, and it's pretty smooth.
Okay. All right. So why do you enjoy and love soccer so much?
I mean, I kind of fell in love with it in 6th grade, and it's a great way for me to kind of express myself out of school, and I find a great joy in, I mean, with hanging out with the fellas on the team and having a great coach behind me who makes the sport almost bigger than it really is.
Okay, all right, very good. Coach, you mentioned your record, so this is your 3rd year
Yes.
at Norview, so you know, last year was, again, a new challenge in terms of bringing these players in. So talk about how your record was last year compared to moving forward this year.
So my first year with the program, we were 5-9-1, and it felt like a program that didn't really have an identity in the school. And Norview, all the other athletic teams have an identity. There's a face behind them, and you can tell when, you know, someone is an athlete because, you know, they're respectful, and, you know, that's kind of how they act. Our soccer team felt like it didn't have an identity the first year I got there, and that was something that we pegged right away. Myself and Coach Militar came in, and we wanted to create an identity for Norview. So that was the big challenge first year, was just get everybody behind us, and then second year we decided that, hey, we've actually got some talent here. Let's see if we can put them together. So we improved our record to 9-5-1, and we're looking to finish even better this year.
Okay.
See what happens.
All right, so with that, you've been able to now compete in this region, in this new makeup, and then also in the district, because it's really been a heavy Maury, Granby, you know, they're the top teams, but now you're in that mix. So talk about how you've gotten that mix.
Yeah, it's been tough. You know, last year I think we were in all of those games. We were competing, but just couldn't get over the hump. And when we started this season off with our second game of the year playing Princess Anne, and our guys just caught fire, and we ended up winning 5-1. You know, the guys kind of really felt a little bit of confidence and kind of started, you know, believing in it. So the last week we played Granby, and Granby's always been a tough opponent for us. And you know, from watching the game, it was very closely contested game, and we ended up tying 0-0. But you know, I told the guys afterwards, maybe last year we don't get that result. Maybe last year we don't stay in the game that long and able to pull off a point.
Now let's find out what are your plans for the future once soccer's finished.
I plan to go to Radford and study sports management, but I think for as much as soccer, I'm pretty much finished here.
Okay. All right. Well, high school's been a great stop for you. You've done a nice job. So again, guys, want to thank you for coming down here. Good information, continued success in the year, and we'll see you out on the field.
Thank you.
Thank you.
More NPS Now after this.
Welcome back to NPS Now. With us today is two very special guests. We have Beth Mills and Misha Hayes. They are military student transition consultants here in Norfolk Public Schools. Welcome, ladies, to NPS Now to talk about the April's month of the military child. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We're glad to have you here today. I'm sure there's been some exciting things happening in our schools, but first I want to know from you, Beth, approximately how many of our students have connections to the military?
Well, Norfolk Public Schools is home to approximately 33,000 students, and of that particular amount, approximately 25% are military connected, and that will fluctuate depending on the mobility of our joint forces in the area.
Because they move a lot, what kind of issues might military children encounter or face when they're going to a new school?
Fundamentally, I know Misha and I probably find the same things as we go into schools and support. One of the big ones is extracurricular activities. They have a hard time getting in when they're transitioning. There may not be enough room for them. Another one, of course, is connecting to other students. A military student will transition 6 to 9 times in their K-12 educational life. And a lot of times they'll shut down and not want to connect. So that can be problematic for them, especially with their peers and just coming into a new school. And lastly, here lately, academics has been another problem where students come in the framework of another district where they may have already learned a unit, and then they're coming to another district, and that unit either is being taught at that time, or we need to plug the holes on where they need to be, and they haven't had those particular units and those particular skills. So it does it can be problematic for them.
I believe that. So Misha, what do we do to assist these students in this type of situation?
In the schools, there's an elementary student-to-student program, which is a peer mentor program in the schools, where students are paired up with a peer to help welcome them, and also their teachers are in place to help with that transition as well.
How does that work, and how do the kids react to that?
The kids, they like to be welcome. They want to feel like they're a part, and the students that are taking on those student ambassador roles really take on that leadership capacity to welcome those students and make them feel welcome.
That's great. So this is a grant, and you both are working with this grant designed to assist our military-connected students. Give me a brief overview, Beth, and both of you, of what your grants focus on each.
The Operation Thrive 2015 grant was in place for the outcome of socio-emotional well-being, to build on that, and that's its primary focus.
And what about your grant, Misha?
Operation Break the Code grant is focused on two things: the social emotional well-being, and also introducing computer science into elementary curriculum through coding.
So how do your grants, and this question for both of you, assist your students?
Well, with coding, the students are assisted, they're being exposed to computer science at an early age, which is helping them create a pathway to be ready for college and career readiness. So they're understanding the language and the science of computers so that they're ready globally to compete and become innovators, to be problem solvers and become critical thinkers.
The 2015 grant in Operation Thrive, similar, we don't have a coding component, but ours is on building professional development within the district, making sure that all of our stakeholders are on board and being educated in the lifestyle of military culture, as well as supporting ongoing support of students through the district that are military connected to help them build that capacity for socio-emotional well-being.
Right. So Misha, do the grants help teachers and staff help those students learn how to assist military connected students?
Yes. Now, with us being in partnership with the Military Child Education Coalition, there are professional developments being offered on all staff development days. There are sessions where administrators and teachers can partake on, so they can understand the stresses involved with military children with them moving.
And that's my next question. Why is it so important to find ways to help these students? Why do we focus on them?
I think it's important because we know that separation, when a child is separated from their parents, it impacts their growth. We also know with them moving, it impacts their education. So with helping staff, administration understand those stresses, they are able to meet the needs of those children so that they can thrive in their environment and help balance out that learning opportunity.
Same question for you. Why do you think it's important?
It definitely is. We know the hardships our students are transitioning into, coming from military culture and lifestyle. Both of us have lived. It's something that I think the students, the families that are coming in that are military connected really need that extra boost. And it's very important that we educate ourselves and the district on how to help them.
And when we first received this grant, there were a number of schools, so I guess as a reminder to our audience, how many schools are currently participating in this program?
We have a total of 15. I have 10, Misha has 8, but we have 3 overlapping, which are Camp Allen, Terrellton, and Sewell's Point Elementary School.
I'm curious, how are the students who are not military connected assisting or working with the students who are, that you spoke about the peer-to-peer, but is there services that's covering everyone or just particularly the military children?
It's very important, 100% acceptance on the S2S, our student-to-student programs, so everybody is able to participate. And the civilian population is a critical component to the military culture and lifestyle. They are the ones, usually they're here, they're already rooted, and they are so important in helping military-connected students to root themselves when they come from another district.
And I bet it gives them a better understanding of just what a military child is going through. Absolutely. And I guess that's what the Month of Military Child is all about, is a reminder about it. But Misha, what do you think is the most enjoyable thing about working with this grant?
The most enjoyable part is being able to connect with the children through coding. It's a way to kind of address their social and emotional well-being, and at the same time making sure that all children are exposed to it and that opportunity to become an innovator and not just be a consumer of technology, but they start learning the language and the science behind it, and they want to be able to solve problems in the local community or global.
And what about you, Beth? What do you like or enjoy the most about this grant?
Yes, well, I'm a Navy brat, so anytime I can interact with military kiddos, whether it's at the lunchroom or with a group of them, bringing the civilian population on board, dealing with our wraparound partners, wraparound services, giving professional development to the district or to my grant schools, it's a servant's heart, I do believe, the MSTC holds, and anytime we can serve like that, it's very rewarding and extremely enjoyable.
Well, we're glad we had an opportunity to shed some light with some of our audience members about what this month is about. And we want to thank you both for coming on the show today.
Thank you
for having us.
Great. And we want to thank you for watching NPS Now. It airs weekly on WNPS Channel 47, or you can view us online at www.npsk12.com. If you have any great story ideas or information you'd like to share, email us at nps_news@npsk12.com. Again, we want to thank you for watching NPS Now.